1 year ago, I uploaded my first video starting my game dev journey, Devok 0. We are going to see how I went from making games like this to this. And most importantly, was it all a waste of time? Starting from the very beginning, Devok 0. In this video, I introduce myself. I'm a student from Bulgaria, and the game I'm working on. The goal is to save the world from aliens invasion and infection. I also showed some of the things I made, like shooting, health and stamina bar, AI chasing, attacking and dying, varieties of islands with different stats and more. Then I decided to make more Devoks, like this, where I made this cool and relaxing main menu, or when I added real guns to my game, or when I added even more weapons, a different style of moving, and this pretty cool ammo counter. This is just the beginning. Until the end you will see some pretty insane games, but until then I added the coolest thing in this game. It's when you go behind someone without them knowing, and then, yes, you guessed it, stealth killing. I added it and it looks pretty cool. After this, I made another Devok where I added AI hearing, a true mod, hiding from the enemy, making the first level and more. After all this, I decided to make a change by trying something new. You probably know this T-Rex runner that appears when you don't have internet. So I decided to remake it in 3D. First I started by adding the T-Rex to the game, then I added animations to him. And just like in the original, there are different styles of cactuses, so I added a couple of variations of cactuses. And when you touch them, it's game over for you. There's also a score system in the original game, and when the score hits a certain amount, it changes from day to night, and from night to day. It will also increase the speed of the T-Rex with each new gain point. So I added the score counter, and when it hits a certain amount, it will change between day and night and also make the T-Rex faster. In the original game, you stay still until you jump and the game starts. So I did this like in the original. Now it's time for the map. I added sound material to give you the feeling that you're in desert. Then I took the opportunity of making 3D game, changed the camera from 2D perspective to a 3D perspective. After that, I continued with the map. It looks flat, so I added mountains and hills, then some surrounding nature.
Wow, it's just like real life, man. What the?
But while I was placing the cactuses that the T-Rex will jump over, they looked a little smaller than the surrounding nature. So I removed everything and made it better. Now everything is normal size and it looks a lot better. And that's first game done. And remember, this is only the start of how cool and insane things we are going to see in this video. The next is a bird that really likes to fly between green pipes. Flappy Bird. First I added the bird in the physics, then I added jumping and animations to the bird. After that, it was time to add obstacles. I gave them the ability to spawn, move forward and disappear. When you hit one of these pylons, it's game over for you. I also added slow motion when the bird hits an obstacle. After that, I made changes to the camera and added the score system. Each time you pass between the pylons, you receive 1 point. I also made them spawn at different heights each time, so the game should be a little harder to play. When you open the game, the bird stays in the air until you feel ready to play and press the jump button. Now it's time for the map. First I needed to find the floor, so if the bird falls too much, it hits the floor and stops the game. After some searching, I found this floor and I think it will be perfect for my type of game. I also needed something for the background, so I found this apartment. This is how it looks right now with pylons as well. This is very raw versions of everything, definitely needs more work. So the next thing I did was add a little bit of fog. It makes the level look a lot prettier and feel better. As you saw moments before, I needed more force and the floor just disappeared. I changed that and now it looks like this. The floors appear and after some time they disappear. Looks a lot better now, but there is some more work that needs to be done. I started fixing the apartments because they were spawning really close to each other. After some time it looks a lot better and it's starting to look like a game, but more work was needed, like changing the pylons. So I started searching for a model and after some time I found one. I replaced the stretch cubes with this model and now it looks like this. And while I thought the game was almost finished, a big disaster happened. Something went wrong. I'm not sure what, but it deleted everything. And now when I try to play the game, I just stay in the empty space with errors everywhere. So I recreated everything from the beginning. I added the bird, pylons 4 and the background city. It looks like this now. I added the most of the things back, but there's still more work to do. After a lot of time and headache, I brought the game to the point where it was before the disaster. I added more stuff to the game, but they are boring to watch. And with that, the game is finished. Now it's time for the next game. The name is Not Alone. You guessed it, it's a horror game made in 3 weeks. First, I opened Unreal Engine and chose the first person template because I wanted it to be first person game. Then I added the house, but when I played the game, it didn't feel great. So I added some movement to the camera. After that, I added the ghost. But now, she just stays in one place. As I said earlier, the ghost can only hear, not see. When I make noise here, she will come, and if she catches me, it's game over. I also made her roam around the house. These doors can already be opened, but I needed all the doors to be closed and locked, and only if you have the right key can you open them. After a few hours making this system, now when I pick up this key, it will open this door. I added text showing which key you pick up, what key you need for each door, a little animation, and a locked icon indicating the door is locked. I also added an unlock icon and sounds for when the door is locked and when you unlock it. Now when you make a sound, the ghost will come to check, but not from every sound. I didn't want to leave you wondering if she'd come or not, so I added specific sound for when she goes to check. Huh, I'm not hearing anything. So she probably is not going to come here to check the place.
6 hours later.
I'm done here. Oops, I forgot to unlock the door. Ah, fuck! The next thing I worked on was making a good dying scene. First I made it so that when you're close to the ghost, she appears in front of your face. Then I added animation and sound to it. Now if you look out the window, the house appears to be floating. So I started adding floor, trees, bushes and grass. Now looking out the window, it looks like you're in the forest. I made it so when the ghost hears sound, she moves faster to the location. After that, I started making the actual gameplay. I added keys around the house, and each key opens a specific door. I also added more stuff to make the game playable, and with that, this game is also finished. Now it's time for the next game, which I made in 7 hours. It's called the Treasure Mage. First I started working on the magic you shoot from the both sides, then I started making the boss. After combining all components, it looks like this. But now he just stays in one place and you cannot kill him. I named the boss Bob and I added health bar for him. Then I gave him animations. I made him always chase me. When he is close enough, he will attack. The next thing I need to do was make the boss die when his health reaches 0. Now, when he runs out of health, he just continues chasing. So I started working on this and it worked the first time. Really? You thought this was going to work the first time? He continues to chase me. After a lot of time, I fixed it and left only one thing so the game can be finished. And that's the boat where you and the boss will fight. With that done, game is finished. The next game we are going to see is a combination of the last 2 horror and boss fighting game that we saw to make a parkour game in 24 hours. Now the most important thing for making a parkour game is movement. Imagine the goal of the game is to go as fast as possible to other platform and you can only walk. Whoa, that's so fun. So I'm going to add 4 movements to prevent making walking simulator. The first movement we are going to add is sliding and crouching. The way it works is when you're running and try to crouch, you're going to slide. But if you stay still or moving really slow, you guessed it, you just crouch. Now it's time for the second movement, the wall run. The way wall running works is by making some kind of force that touches the player to the wall and adding gravity that pulls you down over time. The third movement we are going to add is mantling.
Please help me. Here too much raining.
The way mantling works is when you are close to the small obstacle, you just do a quick mantle, but if it's a little bigger, you do a normal mantle which is a little bit slower. The next thing we are going to add is that with time, your speed will increase. When you start turning and while running, your speed increases. We also added timer to help you see how fast you're passing the obstacles and smooth camera. So the fourth movement we are going to add is wall climbing. When you go next to a wall, you jump and automatically you start to climb. And don't worry, every move is done automatically. All you need to do is press space except for crouching and sliding. Then I made the map, added our obstacles and set it to nighttime. Horror part is the nighttime and the ghost who, when you move, will laugh and start chasing you. But when you look back, you see absolutely nothing. But don't worry, she is always there, watching you, wanting your soul and coming to you. The ghost will appear when you're too slow and there's no indicator to tell you how close she is. I'm going to put this guy at the end of the level, and when you go to him you probably want to go as fast as possible, because when he hits you, it will stop the timer. But there's a problem. If you join now and have never played a game like this, you will make it too easy for the ghost. So I made a base where you can practice and see how fast you are passing this training. This is my time. I'm sure you cannot beat this time. And with that, this game is also done. The next game we are going to see is a remake, but with some things added by me. The game is about 8 pages that you need to pick up in the forest. Yes, it's Slenderman, the 8 pages. Let's start by adding the main star of the game, Slenderman. I found this amazing 3D model, so why not use it? Now this model is just standing in a T-pose, so I found some good animations for him, like, oops, no. I mean this idle and walk animation. Bind, they look like this. One of the most recognizable mechanics in this game is when you look at the Slenderman. The screen starts to go static, and when it goes full static, you get kicked out of the existence. So I made a system that detects when you're a certain distance from Slenderman and looking at him, the screen starts to go static. When you look away, the static stops, but if you don't look away, it's game over for you. Another interesting fact about him, when you get too close to him, even without looking, he will jump scare you. Another mechanic done. The original game, you have to take all 8 pages to win the game, but it wouldn't be better to collect your lost soul instead. This is going to be your soul. When the first soul is picked up, Slenderman will spawn somewhere around you. With every soul you collect, Slenderman will teleport somewhere near you. I added a counter to show how many souls you've picked up. After collecting all 8 souls, you win the game and the cutscene will play. But I'm not going to spoil it, you will have to see it for yourself. Next, I added what almost every scary game has, a flashlight. You will start with turn on, but if you want to make the gameplay harder, you can always turn it off. And if you noticed, I added a slide camera movement when you're standing still or walking. Then I added the map. I set it at nighttime, placed our souls around the map, added many other features. You play in an abandoned village in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by the forest in winter. Everything is snowy and cold, and if you wonder why some of the buildings have lights, well, nobody knows. There's also this guy who doesn't talk much. What do you think? Was it all a waste of time? Links for our games in the description.